Notre Dame looks to end the season on a winning note.
You know, as a program, like after the loss against Clemson, that's what we've been striving for is 10 wins.
The Fighting Irish are in El Paso for a top 20 matchup in the Sun Bowl. With a new starting quarterback and several more new faces in the starting lineup, who will seize the opportunity?
Coach Free has another big message about this bowl game is grasping the opportunity. I think personally I have a great opportunity in this game, and as a team I think we have a tremendous opportunity to go home with 10 wins and put a cap on the season with the Sun Bowl win.
It's bowl season, and it starts now on WSBT 22.
You are looking live at the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas. We're a little more than 30 minutes away from kickoff as Notre Dame, you can see, getting set to face Oregon State to wrap up the 2023 season. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this special presentation of WSBT Sports. I'm Pete Byrne and joined by Eric Hansen, the co-publisher of InsideNDSports.com. Over the next half hour, we're going to have everything you need to get ready for kickoff between the Fighting Irish and the Oregon State Beavers. Eric, we've had a busy month with lots of news to digest, but I don't know about you. I'm excited to finally just get to watch some football today.
Watch some football and watch maybe kind of a quasi-preview for the 2024 season. Not complete scenes, but little pieces that will give us a clue about what next year's team will look like.
Much better idea after today. We do have some news to get to at the start of our program today. We woke up this morning to the news that Jaden Mickey's mother lost her battle with cancer overnight. Mickey, a sophomore cornerback, in line to make the start today for Notre Dame. As far as we know, he's supposed to play today.
Right. So Jaden Mickey's mom, Nilka, they live out in California, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer in February of 2020. This fall, she entered hospice care, said, you know what, no more chemotherapy for me, and she passed away. Lamar, Jaden's dad, announced it on Twitter/X this morning, and our thoughts and prayers go to their family. He was able to spend some time with her around Christmas before the team headed to El Paso, so best case scenario in a really sad situation. But again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the Mickey family.
Yeah, well said, and it'd be interesting to see if and how the team is able to rally around him in his grief today. Meanwhile, there's a growing trend right now in college football. We've been talking about it for a while, but the top players opting out of bowl games for various reasons, and it's hit Notre Dame much harder this bowl cycle than ever before. Take a look at just some of the players who won't be playing in today's Sun Bowl. And Eric, obviously some very impactful names on this list. These guys all choosing to turn pro versus play today.
Yeah, well, Steve Angeli's going to be playing quarterback, and he's looking at 76 and 54 not being there and saying, this job isn't the same that it was during the season with those 2 NFL-ready tackles. Yeah, a lot of opt-outs, and it's not just the top-line guys like Joe Alt, who's going to be a first-round draft choice. You have some, because of the transfer portal cycle, you have some kind of middle-level reserves, top reserves opting out as well. For Notre Dame, it almost adds up to 20. It's about 19.
Yeah, you mentioned the transfer portals. We take a look at some of the notable names that have chosen to transfer away from Notre Dame that still have eligibility left. If you look at this list, Zeke Correll, your starting center for most of the year. Holden Stays became the starting tight end when Mitchell Evans went down. And then all of these wide receivers. I mean, not only is Steve Angeli making his first career start, but all the guys that you would think would be his primary pass catchers, they're not available today.
Yeah, it's fortunate for Steve Angeli and Marcus Freeman in that some receivers that haven't played much or at all in the past couple months are all coming back at the same time. Matt Salerno, Jaden Thomas, Deion Colsey, and KK Smith. He'll make his debut in the Sun Bowl, a Texas kid making his season debut after having off-season shoulder surgery.
And by the way, if you're watching the game today and you're curious about Matt Salerno, he has switched to number 4 now that Chris Tyree is gone, so you'll see him there. Now, Sam Hartman's decision to skip the bowl game means that, as we said, sophomore Steve Angeli will make his first college start this afternoon in the Sun Bowl. WSBT 22's Bennett Wise is anchoring our coverage today in El Paso. He joins us live on the field at the Sun Bowl. Bennett, Marcus Freeman has said repeatedly he has lots of confidence in Angeli.
Yeah, that's right. That trigger word that Marcus Freeman used really since the beginning of the season, too, when talking about his backup and now starter Steve Angeli, was, like you said, confidence. He has a lot of it this week. He said he has a lot more comfort, too, having his quarterback coach, now the interim offensive coordinator, Gino Guidugli, calling plays for him this week. He said it'll put him in a better position to succeed and add some more comfort to playing quarterback and making his first collegiate start. Now, he was also very adamant this week in trying to get a 10th win for Notre Dame. Angeli did make the most of his opportunities during the regular season. He completed nearly 75% of his passes, and Marcus Freeman wants Steve Angeli to just be Steve Angeli during this ball game.
To me, he's earned the right in practice to be Sam Hartman's backup, and in the opportunities that he's played in games, he's done really well. And so you got to be Steve Angeli. Don't be Sam Hartman. Don't be anybody else. Be Steve Angeli. Take care of the football. That's always a big thing for me. Take care of the football.
I think it's tremendously important. You know, Coach Free has another big message about this bowl game is grasping the opportunity. I think personally I have a great opportunity in this game, and as a team I think we have a tremendous opportunity to go home with 10 wins and put a cap on the season with the Sun Bowl win.
So right now, there are actually only 2 quarterbacks listed on the depth chart for Notre Dame. You have Steve Angeli making his first career start, Kenny Minchey backing him up, and a new development that I just saw during warmups, New Prairie alum Chase Ketterer, a former quarterback for the Cougars as well. He was warming up alongside Angeli and Minchey, so we can expect him in kind of an emergency role if it comes down to that. But really cool to see the current Irish running back, former New Prairie quarterback, back in his old position.
All right, Bennett, thank you. And that's interesting information. We love Chase Ketterer. Hopefully we don't see him play today. Yeah, other than maybe a late knee. Yeah, one thing that should help Angeli's transition from backups to starter today, Eric, is familiarity with the play caller. Jared Parker, the offensive coordinator, decides to leave to take the head coaching job at Troy last week. But quarterbacks coach Gino Guidugli is going to be calling the plays for Notre Dame in the Sun Bowl.
Right, and he's not remaking the playbook. I think he has to adapt to the different personnel and so forth. And then Gino was a little bit undecided where he was going to call the plays from. Originally he thought, okay, let's do it on the sideline. He's changed his mind. He's going to do it up in the press box. But you'll see the Notre Dame offense you're used to seeing. But I think you'll see Gino Guidugli's spin on it. I think he'll be a little bit more cavalier with some of the calls, saying that it's a bowl game, and why not let it all fly?
Certainly nothing to lose. And speaking of familiarity, we spoke with Steve Angeli about the comfort level that comes with having his position coach being the one who calls the plays today.
Definitely gives me a feel of comfort. Like you said, I spend every day with him, and as you know, I'm literally in his office 24/7 throughout the week. So it definitely does give me some comfort to know that he'll be up there calling it and putting me in position to succeed.
We will get to see what that wrinkle looks like in just a few minutes. Right now, though, Eric, we need to take a quick break. But when we come back, we are closing in on kickoff between Notre Dame and Oregon State. When we come back, we'll return to El Paso, where we take a closer look at the Beavers and the challenges they pose. You're watching the Sun Bowl pregame special on WSBT 22. You are looking live at the Sun Bowl in El Paso. We are less than 30 minutes away from kickoff as Notre Dame's band takes the field and the Fighting Irish are getting ready to face Oregon State. Welcome back to the program, everyone. While Notre Dame has 8 starters skipping the bowl game on offense, Eric, most of the defense is intact, and in addition to playing today, several of Notre Dame's starters have also announced that they plan to return to the team next year. Good players, guys like Howard Cross, Riley Mills, Jack Kaiser, to name a few.
Yeah, there's nobody like Howard Cross and Riley Mills in the portal. They really are in great shape for 2024 and today, going against an Oregon State offensive line that's missing 3 starters on its offensive line, including an All-American tackle. So, yeah, I would expect this to be a game where Oregon State is going to labor on offense because of that. You look at the defense, and yeah, Cam Hart's missing at one cornerback, but those Jaden Mickey and Christian Gray have been good all year, so you feel really good about what the defense will be able to do in this game.
And, of course, they also have Xavier Watts, the consensus All-American, playing. Now, he's got a decision to make about next year, but he at least is playing today.
He is at least playing today, and he didn't even blink an eye about it. And he has next year mapped out. I think he is leaning toward coming back. He feels like he can learn and be a better pro by coming back. We'll see if he changes his mind, but that's what my expectation would be for him to come back.
Now, one of the starters we know is returning in 2024 is linebacker Jack Kaiser. I recently caught up with a grad student from Royal Center in Indiana to learn more about his decision to spend another year at Notre Dame.
Ultimately, I feel like there was some unfinished business here for me, some things I could finish and go out the right way and that I want to do. So I think ultimately that's what kept me here.
What are some of those unfinished things for you, and how does this bowl game factor into what that might be?
Yeah, like defensively, I think I can still play better ball. Realistically, I think there's a lot left for me. I think I've continued every year to get better and better, and I think next year will be just the same. I'm just got to continue to put the work in and become a better football player. And then, I want to do something special with this Notre Dame football program, right? We've been to a New Year's Six in my time here, been to 2, but we haven't won one. And like, I want to have a chance to win a championship. I'm not going to be shy. And not say that, like, that's the ultimate goal. And so, with those 2 things, like, it's a lot of motivation to come back and work hard for it.
We continue to close in on kickoff between Notre Dame and Oregon State. WSBT's Bennett Wise joins us again live in El Paso. Bennett, Irish getting ready to face Oregon State's 3rd-string quarterback today in the Sun Bowl.
Yeah, but he's not your average 3rd-string quarterback. Ben Gulbranson made 10 appearances last season and made 8 starts, 7-1 record during that stretch, and he is thrust into the starting role after quarterback DJ Uyunglele and Aiden Childs, the backup, both entered the transfer portal. And like I said, he has plenty of experience. Gulbranson even started in the bowl game last year for the Beavers in the Las Vegas Bowl, even being named MVP in the win over Florida. There's certainly experience and confidence that Oregon State has in their quarterback, and from Notre Dame's perspective, even though his starts came from last season, the focus is on this defense doing what it can here and now to stop him and the OSU offense.
You watch film, you prepare. You got, I think, 8 games of film from when he did start. And the thing that I respect about him, he's a winner. Right, and there's no substitution for that. He's shown to be a winner, and so he has that competitive spirit that we all desire to make sure our program has. And so, we're going to do what we do well, right? This isn't about tricking your opponent. It's about having a great game plan and giving your guys a chance to play fast, and that's what we're going to do.
Pete and Eric, like you said, having those experienced returners like a Riley Mills, a Howard Cross, a Jack Kaiser back in the lineup certainly helps this Notre Dame defense because they've seen so many different quarterbacks in their time, either now going into next season, their 5th and 6th years.
All right, Bennett, thanks a lot. We'll check in with you a little later. Looks like you're being recruited to join the band right now. Good luck there. We need to take another timeout, but when we come back, several young players will be getting their chance to shine today in the bowl game. We will visit with some of the guys hoping to make the most of their first big opportunities when the WSBT Sun Bowl pregame special continues. There wasn't much sun the last time Notre Dame played in the Sun Bowl. The 2010 edition will always be known for a freak snowfall that blanketed the Sun Bowl field hours before the game. In the bowl game itself, Notre Dame delivered a record-setting rout. In front of the largest crowd in the game's history, a freshman, Tommy Rees, threw 2 touchdown passes to Michael Floyd as the Irish got up quickly and never looked back. Harrison Smith set a Sun Bowl record with 3 interceptions as Notre Dame routed Miami 33-17. Well, it certainly looks a little different this afternoon, doesn't it? Welcome back. Another live look inside the Sun Bowl in El Paso as we are closing into kickoff between Notre Dame and Oregon State. Welcome back to our pregame special. Pete Byrne, Eric Hansen. Eric, we spent a lot of time discussing who won't be playing today, but that creates opportunities for several other players to step up. One guy I think we're all really excited to watch is Charles Jagusah, the freshman who's going to get his first career start today at left tackle. Yeah, really interesting kid in that he played on a winless football team. He was a state heavyweight champ wrestler in Illinois, played through some really bad knee pain, ended up getting some surgery. I think we would have seen Charles a little bit earlier this season in a reserve role, but he was recovering from that. He's played 5 snaps all year, but it's a testament to his athletic ability and his perseverance that he is starting in this Sun Bowl game, and he could be Notre Dame's future left tackle. Well, I would think we assume he'll be the future left tackle. I mean, we've seen a little bit of him in practice. He's big, he's strong, he's physical. It makes sense to me that he was an excellent heavyweight wrestler. I'm curious to see how he plays today, and he's going to be one of 3 new starters on the offensive line, along with right tackle Tosh Baker, we believe, and then Ashton Craig starting at center. He did start a couple games this year, but he was the reserve for the primary portion of the year. Right now, we're going to throw it to Leo Goldman, who joins us live in the studio. Leo, there's another young Fighting Irish player in line for a big workload today.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Pete. One guy who we, of course, won't see on the field is running back Audric Estime, who opted out of the Sun Bowl and declared for the NFL draft. That means Devin Ford, Jabron Payne, and Jeremiah Love will get some extra touches today. For Love, he's giddy at the opportunity to step into an expanded role for today's game, and he says he's embracing playing under the bright lights of postseason play.
I'm on 10 right now. I just want to, show the world what I can do.
As his first season in an Irish uniform winds down, true freshman Jeremiah Love still has one heck of an opportunity standing in front of him. With Audric Estime's time with Notre Dame done, Love will get a chance in the Sun Bowl to try and wow his coaching staff and maybe turn some heads before 2024 spring camp.
Jeremiah Love on the carry.
I look forward to it. I don't really fold under pressure. I think pressure is only going to make me better, feel me? And with more carries, I can really show what more I can do.
While being in a running back's room with Estime, Love got an opportunity to learn and grow. Getting a chance to pick the brain of a back who just set the single-season record for rushing touchdowns in a season for the Irish, that's something the St. Louis native took full advantage of.
Be more physical, run my pad level a little lower, and to really put in more work off the field. Audric was the type of person that was really always working when nobody else was, and I learned that if I want to be the best, I got to, follow in his footsteps and work when nobody else is working, and always work on my craft, lift a little bit more too.
While Love appeared in every game for the Irish this season, he only had 2 games where he had 7 or more carries. Today's Sun Bowl will likely give him an opportunity to see more carries and give him a chance to make a big impact on the game.
With less carries, you really got to make sure that you're doing the right thing and that you're making the most out of the carries that you're getting. But I think with more carries, you'll see that I'm not just a back that can do good with just minimum carries, but as we increase those carries, I think that my efficiency level will still be the same, and you'll see that I can be a starter or I can be a lead back.
Now, Marcus Freeman said yesterday that while Love does have some big shoes to fill, he's also capable of doing some things that Audric Estime isn't, thanks to his elite speed. We'll see if the Irish can capitalize on those strengths later today. Pete?
All right, Leo, thanks. So, Eric, 3 new linemen today and running backs who aren't new but new to the starting role. Who do you think has more on their shoulders in this game?
I think the line does. Yeah. I think between pass protection and forging holes for the running backs, going against a front 7 that's almost intact. Oregon State was 15th in the country in run defense, so the best run defense at full strength Notre Dame would have faced. Yeah, the offensive line. I think Jeremiah Love has enough wiggle to kind of find and freelance some things and maybe run away from people, but again, it's just getting that initial penetration and getting into the secondary.
Yeah, it doesn't have the strength of Estime, but Freeman said maybe a speed that
he has a jet.
Eclipses. Yeah, he is. Well, we're looking forward to seeing it. We've got to take one final timeout, but it is almost time to kick things off at the Sun Bowl. We head back to El Paso one final time to get you set for kickoff right after this.
Grasp this opportunity. Right? There's guys that this is going to be the first time starting for Notre Dame, and there's also guys that this is their last time playing for Notre Dame. And I think every single person that's going to have an opportunity has a different opportunity in front of them, but grasp yours.
And we are taking another live look at the mountains outside the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas. We are just minutes away from kickoff as Notre Dame is getting set to face Oregon State to close out the 2023 football season. Welcome back, everyone. We have covered Notre Dame's roster changes on the program today. 9 new starters today, but Oregon State, Eric, is dealing with similar attrition. They are missing more starters today than Notre Dame is, including probably the most important players on their team, their starting quarterback, their backup quarterback, and their starting running back. Starting running back Damian Martinez was suspended, then he was reinstated, then they said, you've missed too much time, so he's out again. 3 offensive linemen, some key pieces in their defense, and some special teams guys, their kicker and their punter, so that might be a little bit of an adventure for them. And then, the coaching staff is disheveled with Jonathan Smith going to Michigan State, a new coach who is not coaching in the bowl game, who was elevated, so they have an interim coach that was their wide receivers coach in Kefensa Hinson. So lots of shuffling going on with Oregon State. So obviously people are curious, whose makeshift team looks better today and emerges with the Sun Bowl? So I'm going to put you on the spot here and ask for your final thoughts on this game, and also I'm going to tag on to that. How important is 10 wins versus 9 wins to this football team?
Yeah. Well, I think Notre Dame has better number 2s and number 3s on their team. I think they had better depth all year. Oregon State had a good starting team, and I think they'll miss their pieces more. And again, throw in the coaching changes and so forth. 10 wins for Marcus Freeman, it's been an exclamation point. And you go into the offseason with a win, it's a lot better than having to explain to recruits, to fans, why you lost to an Oregon State team with so many challenges. And when you look back years from now, they're not going to put an asterisk next to this if they win the 10th game. It'll be a 10-win season.
That's right, and that'll certainly look good on the resume. And also, I think what we're probably, at least what I'm most curious about, the jumping off point for several of the guys that we've talked about, whether it's Jeremiah Love or Tosh Baker or Charles Jagusah. I feel like in some ways we're seeing the future of Notre Dame football today rather than a culmination of 23.
Yeah, it almost feels like it should be on next year's win total, but it goes on this year's. But yeah, it's going to create some really strong impressions that are going to carry over to spring, and then we'll see those guys get a little bit larger sample size in terms of their use.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. Eric, thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Love to be here.
All right, and please join us immediately following the game for highlights and post-game reaction. Thank you for watching the Sun Bowl pregame special on WSBT. Notre Dame and Oregon State are next. Enjoy the game, everybody.